Welcome to Monday Motivation, PowerPoints for Successful Christian Living. Over the past few weeks, we've been talking about setting and achieving personal goals, personal development, stumbling blocks, ways to work around that. If you have missed any of those previous webcasts over the last 3 weeks, go to our YouTube channel or our website and check them out. Today, our topic is worry, and I'm excited to announce that worry will solve all your problems. Okay. Actually, wouldn't it be great if there was some magic formula to take worry and have it solve problems? So the reality is today's topic is worry will not solve your problems. Think, if we had some magic formula that we could mix with worry and have it solve problems, we'd be millionaires. But that's not the reality. If you think about it, worry alone has never solved a single problem in the history of mankind. Think about it. Can you think of one single problem in your life, in your friends, or anybody where worry alone has in fact solved that problem? If you can think of an example, send it to me. I'll share it, because I could not come up with anything. Worry solves absolutely nothing. So what is the definition of worry? Going to the dictionary, definition: a state of anxiety and uncertainty over actual or potential problems. Keywords in there: anxiety, uncertainty, actual or even potential problems, things that we perceive. Mental distress or agitation resulting from concern, usually for something impending or anticipated. Again, agitation, concern. None of this is positive. All of them are negative. And if you think about it, all of them are in a state of mind. They're up here. It's the way we perceive things. Synonyms would be anxious, nervous, insecure. So when we have problems, how do we face those problems? Acknowledging a problem is okay. You have to acknowledge it. You can't pretend it doesn't exist and it'll go away. Being concerned about issues and problems, that's okay. We have to be concerned. We have to be realistic. We have to face reality when difficult situations occur. But what role does worry play in this? I'm going to suggest a small amount of worry is okay, but only if that worry causes you to take action, to take positive steps. When the worry becomes anxious, when it becomes consuming us, that is when worry is a concern. That's when it is a problem, and we need to deal with it. Because if we never move beyond the worry state, the problem will never go away. It'll never get solved. Think about it. Worrying is up here. Worrying is a state of mind. Worrying does nothing to change the actual problem or the outcome of the problem. It then has to translate into actions that will in fact deal with and resolve the problem or the issue. So when is worry a problem? When we spend too much time thinking about a problem instead of taking action. When it consumes our thoughts. So we worry more and we end up in a downward spiral. It doesn't solve the problem, so we worry more. It doesn't solve the problem, so we worry more. And it's just a spiral downward. When it becomes all-consuming, when it becomes debilitating, that is when worry becomes a problem. So a little bit that causes us to take action, fine. But it can't go beyond that. Worry also drains our energy. It wastes our time because it does absolutely nothing to change the outcome. Think of my original statement. Worry alone has never solved a single problem in the history of mankind. It's wasting our time and our energy. What are some of the things that people worry about? Well, finances. How am I going to pay the bills next month? Losing a job. I faced a job layoff 6 months ago. How did I deal with that? We'll talk about that a bit more in a later webcast. Our children. We want our children to turn out well and to do well. Our health. Many people worry about health. There's so many things that we worry about or that we have concerns about, but we have to watch that we take actions that are under our control, but don't allow the worry to take over and consume us, because that accomplishes nothing. Let me share a couple of examples. One example, a number of years back, I had a problem with an insurance company. They didn't want to cover a claim, and this could have potentially cost me tens of thousands of dollars. So when I first got the news, I started to worry about it. And over the next couple of weeks, that became a downward spiral where I was worrying and worrying and worrying about what was going to be the outcome of this situation, because it could have been very costly. And then I realized 2 weeks later, nothing had changed. I was still in the exact same situation, and we were heading towards a situation where I would be on the hook for a lot of money. It was at that point that I realized, hold on, I have to stop worrying. What did I do? I then started to take action. I asked a friend. I talked to some friends in the insurance industry, and I said, here's the situation. What would you recommend? So I got counseling from people who were familiar with it. They said you got to get a good lawyer, and it has to be a lawyer who specializes in insurance, not just a general lawyer. So they recommended some names. I got a good lawyer. But you see, what I did is that worry then, I stopped the downward spiral, and I took action. And as a result of that, we actually got a reasonable settlement. It wasn't black and white. It was a gray issue, but we actually got a reasonable settlement. So if I had done nothing except worry, those worries would have come true. But because I stopped the worry, that worry then translated into a plan, which translated into action, which then translated into a reasonable outcome. Let me share another example. A friend of mine is facing a serious operation. And when someone gets hit with the news of a serious operation, you get hit with this range of emotions. It just sort of takes the wind out of you, and I've never experienced it, but I've seen it in a number of cases, and it's hard to describe. Many, many emotions: shock, fear, worry, even maybe some regret in there. He got that news, and the immediate reaction was, oh no. And that's a normal reaction. That's fine. And then he worried, and panic started to set in. So with help of a counselor and some good advice from friends, he's still working through those emotions, but he's now got the emotions under control. So think about it. Here he is facing a serious operation. How would worrying about that operation change the outcome? If you can think of some way, tell me. I can't think of one single way that worrying would help change the outcome of that operation. In fact, by worrying, it's going to have a negative impact, because worrying affects your health. It drains you of energy. You can't sleep. It drains your strength. By worrying, the chance of the operation being successful is actually diminished. So worrying is having a negative impact and does nothing to help. So to deal with the worry, what did he have to do? He had to get his emotions under control. He talked to a professional counselor at the hospital. He talked to a pastor at the church. By putting things into perspective and getting it under control and bringing those emotions in check, he could then start to take action. The actions, of course, in this case, are positive lifestyle changes, eating healthy, exercising, give up smoking. And what we need to do is we need to identify, okay, what is under our control? And those things that are under our control, we then take positive action. Just like in my insurance example, I dealt with what was under my control and I took positive action. Same thing here with a health issue. What's under your control? What actions can you take? In addition to that, the doctor who's dealing with it, who's doing the surgery, comes very highly recommended. He's a specialist in the field. So again, there is taking actions that we are under our control. And then there's some aspects that are not under our control. The final outcome, although we've done everything we can in our part, the final outcome is actually under God's control. And that's where faith comes in. We have to trust that God has our best interests at heart and that He will look after us. It's very, very difficult to do when you're in that moment. It's easy to say, oh yes, we have faith, we trust God. As Christians, we talk about all that time, oh yeah, I trust God. But the reality is, when you are hit with a serious situation, it is a lot easier to talk about it than it is to actually do it. And I think sometimes God allows us to go through these situations to develop our faith, because if we don't exercise it, it never grows. So we have to do what is under our control. We have to do everything we can do ourselves. But at the end of the day, we have to realize there are aspects that we cannot control, we cannot do, And that is where we trust God with the outcome, knowing that the outcome is in his hands. In Scripture, Philippians 4, 6-7 says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be known to God." So we share our concerns with God. He already knows, but we share with him, we talk to him. It's a relationship with God. And as that relationship grows, as our faith in him, as we dwell on his word, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. So it's a working relationship with God. We bring our emotions in check. We do what we can do using the talents and the skills that he's given us, and the rest we have to trust God and trust him with the outcome. So it's a combination of action and faith. Are we still concerned? Yes. Do we worry about it? No. Remember, worry alone has never solved a single problem in the history of mankind. Some people don't struggle with worry. If you're one of them, my hat's off to you. Most of us struggle to a certain degree with it, and some people, it consumes them. If you're one of those people that are consumed by worry, reach out, get help, professional help from a pastor or a counselor. But don't let worry consume you. Take control so the outcome is positive. Next week, we're going to be talking about effective ways to deal with the worry. We're going to expand on that topic. We hope you're able to join us. Please like this video if you have enjoyed it, if you have found it helpful. Leave comments. Your feedback is welcome at our website, monday-motivation.ca. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our Facebook page. If you're not on social media, join our emailing list. Links for all of these are on our website at monday-motivation.ca. We look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great week.